Hey guys, last week I gave you a lot of information. You may not understand all of that yet, but that's okay. I wanted to give you guys a sort of overview of what I'm going to be talking about over the next few weeks. I think you'll start to understand it as we go along. So last week I talked a little bit about whole tones and semitones. The distance between each key on a piano is one semitone, and the distance between every other note is a whole tone. So what I'm going to be talking about this week is intervals. An interval is the distance between two notes. Intervals can be played melodically, or one at a time, or they can be played harmonically, or at the same time. Melodic intervals make up melodies, and harmonic intervals make up chords, which I'll be talking about pretty soon. The smallest interval is the perfect unison. This is when you would have two notes of the exact same pitch playing at the same time. This isn't possible on a single piano, but you can play a perfect unison with two pianos, and some instruments like the guitar allow you to play the same note in different places. The next interval is the minor second. This would be one note and a note a semitone above it. It sounds very dissonant when it's played harmonically. The next interval is the major second. This would be one note and another note two semitones away. Next is the minor third. It sounds a little bit sadder, as minor intervals tend to do. Next is the major third. Which sounds a bit happier and more uplifting. Next we have the perfect fourth. There's no minor or major fourths, only the perfect fourth. I don't feel like it has a lot of the character that some other intervals have, if that makes any sense. Next is the augmented fourth or diminished fifth. This is also called the tritone because the notes are three whole tones away from each other. It's a very dissonant interval. It doesn't sound very good on its own, although it's used in many chords, and I'll be talking about that in later videos. Next we have the perfect fifth. Like the perfect fourth, there's no minor or major fifths. Guitarists and pianists love perfect fifths. We use them all the time. They're really useful because it's a very stable interval. It doesn't pull your ear in one direction or another, it just kind of sits there. And you can play the same perfect fifth interval over a minor chord or a major chord and it'll sound fine. Next is the minor sixth. This would be two notes, a perfect fifth and one semitone apart. You also might notice that if you reverse these notes, you get the major third. Next is the major sixth, which is a perfect fifth plus two semitones. As with the minor sixth, if you take the major sixth and reverse it, you get the minor third. Major sixths and minor sixths sound really good together. They're used pretty often for harmonies or guitar fills. Next we have the minor seventh. This is also a very important interval that I'll be talking about later. Next is the major seventh, which is a fairly dissonant interval. But it sounds really good when you pair it with other intervals. I'll be getting to the sevenths in some later videos. Finally, we have the perfect octave. So if you play C on a piano, the note an octave above that would also be C. you've just doubled the frequency. And at this point, the pattern repeats itself. You can keep counting minor ninth, major ninth, minor 10th, major 10th, perfect 11th, and so on. But there's really no reason to go above 2 octaves when talking about intervals. So if you look back at the major scale that I talked about last week, you'll see it's made up of intervals. So let's take the C major scale. The distance between C and D is a major second. The distance between C and E is a major third. The distance between C and F is a perfect fourth. The distance between C and G is a perfect fifth. The distance between C and A is a major sixth. The distance between C and B is a major seventh. And from there you have C and C at an octave. Now if we look at the minor scale, the distance between C and D is a major second. Then we have a minor third for C and E flat. A perfect fourth for C and F. A perfect fifth between C and G. And from there you have the octave between C and the next C. So if you compare these two, you'll notice that the minor scale only differs from the major scale in 3 notes. If you take the 3rd, 6th, and 7th notes of the major scale and lower them by a semitone, you get the minor scale. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next week, I'll be talking about how to put some of these intervals to use. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. You can follow me on Twitter for updates at Ongaku Concept, and check out the website at ongakuconcept.com for exclusive content and sheet music and all that kind of stuff. This week's album of the week is the Heavenly Symphony F1 Beyond the Limit soundtrack. This came out in 1993 for a racing game for the Sega CD. There's a lot of great music in here by veteran Sega composers back when they were just getting started, including some of Jun Senoue's earliest work with Sega. I highly recommend it. Go check it out. It's awesome. And thanks to my buddy Joshua Caraway for introducing me to this album. He's an awesome guitarist. Go check out his channel, and I'll see you guys next week.